Hello and welcome back to another weekly recap. This week we're going to be looking at pie charts, probability, specifically relative frequency, and using that relative frequency to work out expected or estimated probabilities. Okay, you're probably going to need a calculator for today's work if you're working along with me. And again, we're going to ask ourselves, we're almost there now. What do we want to get at the end of this year? We've got to keep pushing, and we want to get a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or 8 or a 9. We're just going to keep pushing at it. And how are we going to get there? We're going to keep working hard, keep revising, and keep attending, and keep watching these videos. Okay, let's make a start. Okay, so we're going to look first of all at a pie chart. So the key to pie charts is there's two numbers you have to always know. It's 360, because a pie chart is basically, well, it's a circle, isn't it? It's a circle. And within that circle, we have different values. So here we've got musical instruments, and we've got to plot these musical instruments onto this pie chart. So what we need to do is 360 divided by the total. And that'll tell me how many degrees per frequency, or how many degrees per one person. Okay, so if I wanted to do that, it's going to be 360 divided by the total here. And usually it tells you in the question, but if it doesn't, all you have to do is add up these frequencies, and it gives us 30. So 360, and this is going to give us the magic number that's going to help us with everything else. 360 divided by 30 gives us 12. That means for every person, every one here, it's worth 12 degrees. So now we've got this magic number 12, and we're going to use that now to help us with all our other calculations. So now all we have to do for each of these is 5 times 12. 12 times 12. 7 times 12. 6 times 13. No, I'm only joking. It's times 12. Okay, so we'll just put those into our calculators. 5 times 12. Let's just do it on the calculator. Why not? We can do it in our heads, but why not? Let's just take it easy today. 5 times 12. 12 times 12. It's a square number, isn't it? Is it 144? Yes, it is. 7 times 12. 7 times 12. 84. 6 times 12. 72. Okay, so these are our angles. Okay, you might get the table here given for you, or you might have to draw the table on the last column on yourself. Once we've got these angles, we can check they're right. If we add them all up, they should make 360. So we've got 60 plus 144 plus 84 plus 72, which is 360. Excellent. Right, we're on the right tracks here. So now we're going to take these angles. These are all in degrees. We're going to take these angles and we're going to put them onto our pie chart. But we need to have some equipment to do that. The equipment we need is called a protractor. And it looks like this. We looked at these before the other week when we did our angles lesson. So here we go. Here's our protractor. We need to make sure that the protractor is the middle of the protractor. This part here is on the middle of the circle. And we're going to turn it just like a bearing, really. We're going to turn it round and put 0 at the top. Okay, I'm going to start with 60. So I'm going to go around the outside, and I'm going to use purple. I'm going to go on the outside to 60. I'm going to put a little mark there. Okay, that's my 60. I'm going to move my protractor off. Whoa, look at that. Move the protractor off. And then I'm going to draw a line from the center out to there. And that is my first angle of clarinet. I never got into the clarinet. Okay, I was more of a recorder type. Okay, moving it around. We're gonna the important part is we start from the next line we've just drawn. So the next one's 144. So from the line we've just drawn for clarinet, we're going to go around the outside again, round to the 110, 20, 30, 40, 144, being as accurate as we can. I'm going to put a line there. And then move that. With your ruler, you'll then pencil and ruler, draw through to that line. And that is our guitar. Okay. We're then going to put our protractor back on. and turn it round so it's on the line we've just drawn for guitar. Oh, make sure it's in the middle. Mine's a bit off there. Put it back in the middle. 0 on the line. Looking good. And then we've got flute, which is 84. So around the outside, 84 is 85, 84 below that. Make a little mark. Move that off. Get our pencil and ruler. Draw a straight line there. And we've got to label that as flute. And the last one is the drums. Okay, and then that's done. We don't have to measure the last one because we know that he's had 360. We've done the other three correctly, as accurate as we can. The last one's going to be 72 or thereabouts. So we're happy with that. And there we go. We've got, for this question, we've probably got 3 marks here. And for drawing it on, 2 marks. Okay, so that is your pie chart. First things first, 360 divided by the total, always the first thing you want to do to get your magic number, and then multiply out and then draw on the diagram. Okay, next we're going to look at some probability as a decimal. So probability always adds up to the number 1. Probability 1 is certain. So certain is 1. Okay, so all the probabilities, everything that could possibly happen goes into 1. Okay, so we've got 4 different colours here, red, green, blue, and pink. And the probability has to make 1. So here I've got 4 and 0.4, 0.1, 0.2. So that's 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So in order to get to 1, I'm going to have to add 0.3. Okay, so 0.4 plus 0.1 plus 0.2 plus 0.3 gives us 1. We can only ever get in this spinner, we can only get any of these. There's no other option. So that's why it has to add up to 1, 1 being certain. It's certain that we're going to get a red, a green, a blue, or a pink, one of those. Okay, that's why it adds up to 1. So whenever we're missing a number, we just start with 1 and take the others from it, or add them up and then see what's missing to make up to 1. Okay. So just to quickly go over the basics of probability again. The probability of getting yellow, well, there's 1 yellow. Here it is, 1 yellow. And there are 4 things altogether, 4 sections, 4 sectors altogether. So it's 1 out of 4 to get a yellow. Okay, to make that into a decimal, we just do 1 divided by 4, which is 0.25. Okay, in a class of 40 students, 7 students are members of a club. What's the relative frequency? Whenever we see relative frequency, really what it's just saying is what is the probability of a student in the class not a member of a club? Okay, so the probability of a student being from the club is 7 out of 40. So the probability of them not being from a club would be, well, it's 40 in total. It's going to be 33 out of 40. And again, if we want to turn that to a decimal, 33 divided by 40 is going to give us 0.825. That's if you want as a decimal. Okay. Or you can just use the fraction button, put 33 over 40, press SD, and that'll turn it to a decimal for you. It'll also simplify for you there as well. Okay, Team B has won 19 games from a total of 40 games played. What is the relative frequency of Team B winning a game? So they've won 19, they've played 40. So the probability or relative frequency is 19 over 40. Again, 19 over 40 as a decimal is 0.475 or 47.5% if you want to do it that way. Okay, a dice is rolled in a series of trials. Here are the results. So this is the dice, sides of the dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're the different numbers on a dice. And these are the frequencies. Work out the relative frequency of scoring a 3. So the relative frequency of scoring a 3 is going to be 25 over the total. So we're going to have to add all these up. Do not add these. These are just numbers. These could be anything. These could be the colours, yellow, white, red, blue, pink, but they're just the numbers on a dice. So we didn't do anything with those numbers. So don't get confused there. So we're going to add these up very quickly. 17 plus 13 plus 25 plus 16 plus 10 plus 19. That gives us 100. That's nice. So 25 out of 100, which we can then make into a decimal, which is 0.25. Okay. The reason I make it into a decimal, we'll see later, because we just have to know that we can convert between the two. It's important to be able to convert between a fraction and a decimal, because sometimes maybe we're not going to use that fraction button, or we lose where it is. So being able to understand that we're just dividing the top by the bottom to get it to decimal. So that's your relative frequencies. So now we're going to use those relative frequencies to do some expecting or estimating. Okay, so if you see a probability question and then it says so-and-so does something so many times, how many would you estimate or how many do you expect? What you need to be doing is you're multiplying the probability by the number of tries or repeats. That's an A. So in this, we've got the relative frequency. We've got it as a decimal. So 0.54. I'm going to multiply that by the number of repeats, which is 150. So this is telling us if we were going to roll this coin, as you do, we would expect to land on a head. Let's work that out. 0.54 multiplied by 150. We would expect it to land on a head 81 times. Okay. The probability that Wes loses a game of Scrabble is 0.4. If he plays 30 games, how many would you expect him to win? Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a confusing part. The probability that he loses is 0.4. So you going back to what we did on this previous page, if there's only two options of Scrabble: you win or you lose. Okay, you've got the long words, or you're just writing the over and over again. Okay, so you win or you lose. So the probability he loses is 0.4. So the probability he's going to win is going to be 1 take away 0.4. So the probability of him winning is 0.6. 0.6 plus 0.4 equals 1. So the probability of him winning a game is 0.6. So therefore, if he plays 30 games, we'll expect him to win 0.6 multiplied by 30. 0.6 multiplied by 30. Which is, what did I use a calculator for that? 18. We expect him to win 18 out of 30 games. Okay, so now we're on to the tough stuff, the long wordy questions. So a bag contains 9 balls. There are 2 red balls, 3 green balls, and the rest are blue. A ball is drawn at random, the colour is noted, and then it is replaced. This is repeated 135 times. How many times would you expect to get a blue ball? So the first thing we have to do is get that probability. We have to work out what the probability of getting a blue ball is. So there's 9, take off the 2 red, that's 7, 6, 5, 4, so we're left with 4 blue balls. So blue is 4 out of 9. Okay, let's quickly make that into a decimal. 4 divided by 9 is 0.4. Oh, but be careful. It's 0.4 recurring. So instead of pressing cancel and then starting again, if you get a recurring, just go straight into your next part of the sum. And that is to multiply. So we're going to do 0.4 recurring multiplied by the number of repeats, which is 135. If you just cancel and then put 0.4 into your calculator, it's going to give you a weird number, and it's not going to be right. So we just need to make sure, if we have that recurring, either put it back into your calculator as a recurring decimal. There's a button under the big blue button at the top that you can use shift to access. But the best thing to do is just do the 4 divided by 9 and then times it by 135, or use a fraction button. Okay, and that gives us 60. Okay, so we expect out of 135 to get 60 blue balls as you pull them out. Okay, right, so that was quite a short lesson today, quite a short recap on pie charts and relative frequency and expected frequency from probability. 2 topics that really sort of need to get your head round. The pie chart especially can be worth about 5 or 6 marks in the exam. So it's really important one to be able to get your head round. And yeah, so we're doing really well. The year's going well and people are really making some real good progress. So you just need to stick with it and keep asking yourself, what are you doing to get yourself the grade that you want to get, or to get yourself the happiness that you want to get out of the lessons you've got here. Okay, well, I will see you next time.